Judith, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining me here. Uh,
Hi, Janie.
I just wanted to follow up because we've had a bit of a busy time lately, and really to thank you for sharing your story. It's always a, a challenge. It can be very emotional, but what I wanted to do really today was following on from that, ask you to share your experience of, if you like, telling your story because I know for some people it makes them incredibly nervous. They think, what am I going to do? Should I do it on my phone? Should I do it on Zoom? And we'll give people, if you like, a guide. But Zoom is actually quite a good place to do it. But really to talk about the experience of it and also, if you like, the support that, how you found the support for doing that.
Well, first of all, I must say that it's been a pleasure doing it because it has helped me in so many ways. Um, like little things that I'd forgotten about my father, and suddenly they all came flooding back. So I went and got the photograph album out, and I was going through all these photos, and I was thinking, "Gosh, I remember that. Gosh, I remember that." And it, it it helped. I felt, whew, getting emotional here. I felt it was such a relief. It was as though sharing my story had helped me heal in ways that I didn't know I needed to heal. I mean, when I came over here 30 odd years ago, the plan was that my parents would eventually come and join us and spend their retirement here. Well, of course, that didn't happen. So that was one thing that was very sad because my father did love Ireland very much. He thought it was a wonderful place, and he thought the people were marvelous, absolutely marvelous, which of course I do. So I just wanted to share, just me, an ordinary person, share with other ordinary people what happened to my father's journey, and how at the end of the day, he really did have a very bad death. So, if it'll help somebody else to tell their story, and I'm sure when they tell their story, they'll feel much, much better. It really is quite liberating.
And Judith, even though it was quite some time ago now, it as you say, revisiting things can be quite cathartic in a way. But
Yes.
just touch very briefly. Tell us a little bit about your father.
He was an amazing man, and I probably didn't realize just how amazing he was until I started thinking back. He was just so laid back in the way that things didn't really seem to worry him or hit him in any way. He, he took life day by day, but he was very fit. He'd always been very, very fit. And when this hit him, he really didn't know, and we didn't know what the prognosis was because it was a new disease. It was something we'd never heard of, and we couldn't find very much out about it. Even the doctors didn't seem to be very forthcoming. So for somebody who was very fit, okay, so he was 79 years of age, but he was still fit. He was still out in his garage every night, which is where he loved to be because he just loved tinkering with cars. And to find out that everything was being taken away from him. It wasn't only just the fact that his limbs weren't working anymore, but all the things that he loved to do had been taken away from him. He couldn't drive anymore, he couldn't hook the caravan up anymore, and he couldn't work in his garage anymore. And my father wasn't the sort of person to sit and watch television or to sit and read a book. He was somebody that was out there tinkering. So it hit him very, very hard. And my mother she was marvelous through it. She really, really was, because she was his main carer. She was his rock.
I might. Oops, you've got a lively dog there.
Yes, sorry about that.
Not to worry. It's this is what happens. We're all making the most of Zoom, but that comes with working from home as well. But Judith, he had motor neuron, which,
That's right.
you say 30 years ago, people knew very little about. There certainly wasn't Google, the access to healthcare for it, the support. I mean, we know the Irish Motor Neuron Association are tremendous, the help that they give and just the support on every level. But it's still one of the cruelest diseases.
It's extremely cruel. It really is. I mean, I've never seen anything as horrible as motor neurone. I really haven't seen anything. To watch somebody just fade, literally fade before your eyes, fade away, and not even be able to feed yourself towards the end. In a way, I guess my father was lucky because he still had his voice. To the very end, he had his voice. So he could say, he wasn't a man that swore very often, but he did sometimes say things about motor neurone that shouldn't be repeated too often anyway. But no, it was very, very, very sad. It was heartbreaking. And for the family, it was heartbreaking as well. It really was heartbreaking.
And looking back now, as I say, some 30 years on, you've said to me before that you have no doubt at all that he would have been behind you all the way in support.
Oh, he'd be there leading the way. If he was still here today and he was in the situation now, he would be one of those that would be there fighting. He'd probably chain himself to the railings somewhere.
Well, hopefully we won't have to get to that stage, and politicians north and south will be supportive of one another,
I hope
and
so.
we'll just have to see how it goes. But we 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 will be talking again. What I am really grateful for is you supporting us, but also sharing your story and helping others to tell theirs. I think that's going to be a key part of what we're doing.
Well, really, I should be grateful to you because it's given me something that I think I need to fight for, and I want to fight for it. I want to be there, and I want to get it for people so that you're not forced to do it. It's for people who really, really, really can take no more of the pain, and they just want to have a peaceful ending to their life. And that's why I'm doing it. Maybe
There
I
is
might want it one day.
there is a question in my mind, Judith, is is it necessary for somebody to experience uh, either themselves or somebody close to them a terminal illness before they can fully appreciate how much this legislation is needed?
No, no. Uh, this is obviously something that is very personal to me. So I can only look at it from my eyes. But I do know that people I've talked to, nearly everybody I've talked to, has said, well, why isn't it legislation now? What's holding it up? And there are people from all walks of life that I've spoken to who have never had an illness in their family. And they still say, if it's your choice, if you can stand living the way that you're living no longer and you have a terminal illness, that it's your body. You should be allowed to do exactly what you want to do with it. And I'm amazed at how many people that I've spoken to have actually said, I'm with you 100%. Because not everybody is there. But if they just think for one moment how they would feel if their parent or if their child or any relative was in a situation where life was unbearable and they wanted peace, just please let the legislation be there for them to do it.
As we've said in different conversations, haven't we, Judith, that it's it's one of those things, it's only going to be a small number of people who will want to avail of it.
Oh, of
But
course.
the peace of mind that somebody will have knowing that that option is there, that the safeguards are in place, that should they want to exert that choice, they can.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes,
Well,
most certainly.
listen, thank you for talking with me again today. And hopefully, what we'll be doing is sharing more people's stories,
I
because
hope so.
I think they're so important, and we will get this legislation through. We will see it
Oh,
through.
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so, Janie. I really do.
Thank you.
Thank you. You've given me a new purpose. Thanks, Janie.